Hey guys,
welcome back.
And we're doing spooky vibes. As you can tell,
Guys,
pumpkin
look at
action,
it.
little
So cute.
spooky pillow. Like, we're bringing you guys all the spooky vibes. All right,
I'm loving this season. What should we name him, guys? I think I'm gonna name him Jack.
Jack. Guys, say hi to Jack.
And he has a little light bulb. Let me see if it'll turn on. Yeah, you can kind of see it. It's weak, but you know. I think too you could like put a candle in there, a small candle, to illuminate his face. But
Yeah, so like, you're gonna be seeing these cute little spooky props for all our spooky vids, because I want to get you guys in the feel, you know?
it's spooky season.
Alright. So, let's get to it.
Let's.
So we're gonna be doing a little spooky TikTok lore for you guys. Yeah, we're gonna just do some spooky, scary TikToks.
Also, guys, wait, we're matching. We're
you
matching.
notice? Like, this is mad cute.
Right?
Get like us. Get like us.
Y'all want to hear about these ghost kids that just tried to pass themselves off as children when I had my kids outside for recess and just tried to have them line up and come inside the school? Okay, so I'm not a teacher. I'm a volunteer. I volunteer at my daughter's school. I pretty much help her teacher with whatever she needs. I'm just a concerned parent. So fast forward, the teacher counted out 14 kids for me to take outside for recess. I'm like, okay, cool. We get outside for the recess. I'm watching all 14 of the kids. I'm looking at them, watching them. Off to the right, there are the first graders, okay? And their teachers are over there watching them. And then on the jungle gym are the third graders. Now, mind you, like I said, we only had 14 kids that I took outside for recess. So I'm watching them. And where they're running, it's like nothing but open field, grass and trees. Now, it's not so many trees where you can't see the kids, right? They're only like, there's a big tree over here, there's a big tree off to the right, and then there's one single big tree that's straight ahead. Now, that one single big tree, I saw the kids over there running, and I was like, what they doing way down there? So I started yelling. I said, hey, get down here where I can, get to you, where I can see you. They weren't listening to me. So fast forward, I go down there. I start walking towards the tree. And then as I'm walking towards the tree that's in the far distance, the kids started running towards me. I guess they didn't want me coming down there. So I walked down there anyway just to make sure ain't no other kids hiding. So I walked down there and looked behind the tree. Nobody's down there. So I started walking back. And by that time, it was time for the kids to start lining up anyway. Recess was over. So I'm like, okay, let's line up. All the kids started lining up. And I'm like, you know what, let me count. So I started counting the kids. Now remember, I had 14 kids when I came out there. And all of a sudden, the number is at 19. I said 19. So I was like, I had 14 kids when I came out here. All of a sudden, we had 19. So then I started looking at faces. Because I've been with them 3 weeks now. Like, I've been volunteering for 3 weeks. I know what their face look like now. So I started looking at faces. And I see the last 5 kids do not look familiar to me at all. I'm like, what's your name? Little boy was like, Zachariah. I said, what's your last name? He could not tell me. I said, are you in Miss Wood's class? He said, no. I said, well, why are you on my line, baby? He's like, I just wanted to play. And then the other kids behind him just sitting there like statues, ain't said a word, didn't blink. And the other kids saw them as well. The other kids saw them. Y'all know how sensitive kids can be. And so I said, okay, baby, well, you're not in this line. Go ahead. I'm sorry, but you can't come in with us if you're not here. Find your teacher. They run off to that big tree out there in the far distance. And I, felt worried. Like I said, sometimes they look just as real as you and I. They look just as real as me. Okay, so because they ran towards that tree again, I felt weird, and I ran down to the tree, and I told one of the teachers that's out there, like, hey, are these kids y'all's? And they weren't behind the tree. Disappeared. Weren't behind the tree. Remember what I said, there's nothing but open field and trees. They ran behind that tree, and I wasn't far behind them. They can't run that fast, their little legs. They were at least 5 or 6. And when I say I was sprinting down there to get them, y'all, okay, I was sprinting down there. And cousin can run, okay? So get down there, and I start looking. I'm looking around. Nothing.
That's scary. That's scary to me. Like,
what would have happened if she didn't count and she had let them in? Cause
that's what I was wondering too. Like,
yeah.
Okay, like, dang, maybe you should just let them in and then see what happened. Like, what other adult would have sold the kids too?
Mm-hmm. Cause like, what if they can't get inside unless like you invite them in
on some TVD? No, that's. I want to hear about these ghost kids. I sure do. Let me turn all these lights on real quick. I didn't play with no ghost kids. The fuck?
Yeah.
I knew each kid I was playing with.
I just wanted to play. It got me bawling my eyes out.
Yeah, but I'm still scared. Like, no. Those ghost babies were just lonely. Ooh.
Those ghost babies need to pass on to the next life.
So guys, were you guys scared?
I feel like we're starting easy.
I was born, raised, and still live here in the Appalachian Mountains. I'm going to share with y'all the warnings that I was told growing up to help keep you safe in the mountains. They get a little weird, but just bear with me. These rules have been passed down for generations and generations. Close all your windows and curtains at sunset. Do not whistle. Don't look up in the trees and don't look into the tree line. Try not to go outside at night alone if you can help it. And I was always told to never go into the woods alone at night. If you hear something weird, no you didn't. If you see something weird, no, you didn't. If you hear somebody calling your name, if you know that person's not with you or out in the woods with you during that time, no, you didn't. You heard nothing. Anytime I've shared these warnings before, this one really bothers people the most. But if something starts to chase you out in the woods, do not run. And the reason behind that one is because running initiates the predator versus prey instinct. So it kind of just becomes a game for them at that point. And if you're ever out in the woods and all the wildlife falls silent, like all the bugs and the birds and everything just goes quiet, you should turn around and make your way back to your car. But don't run. There's always people in my comments saying, don't believe her, this is bullcrap. There's always just as many comments saying that they heard the same things growing up, or that they've experienced things for themselves that make them realize why the warnings are there. And honestly, there are more. I've done videos like this before, but it's been a while, so let me know if you want a part 2.
Guess who's not going to the Appalachian Mountains?
I'm not going there.
Cause what?
There's nothing for me
There's
out there.
nothing for me.
As many of you know, I grew up in deep Appalachia. I now live in Atlanta, Georgia, and there are times where I'll tell my friends stories from what happened to me when I lived out there, and they're like, what? I already posted about my UFO story last year, and that video got to like 3 million views. But today, I'm going to tell you guys this story of when I was a kid and I encountered a skinwalker. Or at least what I thought was a skinwalker. I hate long intros, so I'm just gonna get into the story. The place I lived was a place called Jasper, Georgia. It's right next to LJ, and I lived in the place where the show Squidbillies was based on, and we have a Squidbillies shrine in our town center. I had a friend that I would stay with pretty often, and her family owned a 300-acre farm. And when I say family, it's just her and her mom who live there. And so they have like all these farm animals, and they have different parts of their land that you have to walk through trails in the woods to get through. Like, in order to get to one barn, you have to walk through the woods for like 10 minutes just to get there. So there was one day that I was sleeping over there, and we had been home alone all day. I was probably in 3rd grade when this happened. Some of you might ask why me and my friend were just like 2 3rd graders alone on this farm. And it was because my parents were getting a divorce, and so I needed a place to go, so I pretty much lived with this girl at the time. but back to the story. So my friend's mom was on the way home, but I guess there was like a lot of traffic or she was running late or something. So she called my friend and she asked her if we could like go down to one of the barns and feed the horses before we went to bed. So at this point in time, it was probably like 8 o'clock. The sun was going down. It was about to be nighttime. You could still see the sun and the light when you're in the open field, but in the woods, it was like pretty dark. Like there was no sunlight. So my friend and I started walking through the pasture to the woods, and she had a flashlight with her. We got to the woods, she turned the flashlight on, and we started walking. We were walking for maybe like 3 or 4 minutes through these woods, so we're about halfway through the trail, and we're just talking about some shit and laughing. And then all of a sudden, my friend just stops talking, and like I was kind of just like looking at her, like as we were speaking. I wasn't really looking in front of me. And then she just like drops the flashlight and starts sprinting in the opposite direction, like back to the house. And so I was like, "You okay, Rebecca?" And because that was her name. And I turn and I see her sprinting, and the flashlight was just like on the floor in front of me. And I was like, what the fuck? So I turn back in front of me, and I just see like maybe like 10 feet away this gigantic like white figure. And I didn't look at it for long, but just like the sheer height of this thing, whatever the fuck it was, scared me so badly that I looked at it and immediately was like fight or flight mode. Like I felt danger. So right when I looked at it, I turned the other way and fucking booked it. I was running faster than I'd ever ran before. So fast that I passed my friend, and I was like running and pissing my pants at the same time. Like that's how fucking scary it was. And so I ran all the way back to her house, and in my brain I was like, what is the one place I can hide right now where no one will find me? And the only thing I could think of was like, I just ran to the laundry room and I got in the dryer. And so I was just sitting in the dryer, and it was like one of those old school dryers. It wasn't like plastic clear cover, so it was just like a white door that closes it from the front. And so I was just in there. I was like curled up in a ball, and I waited like, I don't know, what seemed like 15-20 minutes. I was just in there covered in piss, and eventually I thought that whatever the fuck was in the woods had like killed my friend. And so I was just crying, and like I was freaking out, but I was also terrified and didn't want to die. So I was just sitting in there. And then eventually my friend walks through the door, and I can tell that she's crying and she's like hyperventilating. She's like like I hear that. And so I open the dryer, and she's like scared when I open it, obviously. And I was just like also crying, and we hug each other, and I was like, where did you go? And so she told me that she had ran and she got into like this trailer that was kind of near the house, because it was the only place she could think of to hide. And so we were both hiding, and I guess she just like mustered up the courage to run to the main house. And so we were both just like trying to explain what we saw and like put together whatever the fuck that was. And this was like 2008, maybe 2009. So I think I was like 12 or something when this happened, but this was way before like creepypasta or like any of these stories were like even around. So we couldn't even put a name to like what the fuck we saw out there. And so when her mom finally got home, we tried to explain what just happened, and she just like dismissed us, and she was like, you girls are just like overreacting. You guys saw a bear or like a deer or something, which is still terrifying if we saw a bear, but it definitely was not a bear, because this thing was like pure white. And in the dark, it's like the only thing you can really see is like, if there's someone standing in front of you with a white t-shirt, like you're gonna see that. But this thing was completely white, and that's all I remember is just like this gigantic, like 7 or 8 foot tall thing just like standing right in front of me, staring at me. And so I'm not friends with this girl anymore. I haven't talked to her in probably like 15 years. But I just remember that story, and I remember being so scared that I pissed myself. And the only thing I could think of that being is like a skinwalker. So maybe that is a skinwalker. But yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed that story. I've never told that on here, so I hope you guys were entertained and enjoyed it. And maybe got scared. But anyways, later this week I'm gonna post another story about the Appalachian feral people, because I think I also had an experience with that when I was younger. There was a lot of weird shit that happened. But yeah, thank you guys.
Who is raising their kids in the mountains? Who is raising their family in the mountains?
If that were me, I would never be able to forget that. What you mean, 7, 8 foot tall white figure that me and my friend both saw? So I know I'm not crazy.
Right. Right.
It wasn't no bear. Like, I know what a bear looked like.
At 12 years old, I'm pretty sure they know what a bear looks like. Not the mom gaslighting them. She probably thought
Maybe
they were
it
trying
was
to.
the mom. No.
She probably thought they were trying to prank her. She's like, these damn kids. I just got home from work.
Oh gosh.
That's crazy.
The dark side of housekeeping that nobody talks about. The paranormal activity, especially when you're working a graveyard. I don't know if you guys know of Luxor Hotel. It's like this big black pyramid in Las Vegas. That's where I was my first job housekeeping. There's this weird background story of these construction workers that fell as they were building it. So I'm doing a room. I'm on I believe the 13th floor. But that was a red flag right there. The number 13 is just infamous for being all kind of bad. I'm on the 13th floor, and I'm doing my rooms, and this is around like New Year's Eve, so it's packed, but everybody's like, it's Vegas, so it's nighttime, nightlife, everybody is doing their thing. Nobody's really in the rooms. Everybody's out and about, just doing the Vegas thing. It's so quiet during graveyard. It's so fucking quiet. You can hear yourself breathing sometimes. Like, if you can't hear the music or anything, you can hear yourself breathing. I get chills when I still think about this. I hear this voice say, "Excuse me, ma'am." And I'm in the bathroom, so like the bathrooms are fairly close to the door. So when you're cleaning the rooms, you have your car parked in front of the door. So I come from the bathroom thinking that person's right there, because that's how close it sounds to me, thinking that they're right there by my cart. I go out to the cart. Baby, there's nobody fucking there. There's nobody fucking there. So in my mind, I'm thinking like, maybe they were just like, it was just like a high buy kind of thing. I don't know. Maybe the drinking just saw me, like, excuse me, ma'am. So I go back to cleaning, and I'm cleaning out the sink this time, but I hear it again. Excuse me, ma'am. Like more of like a, excuse me, ma'am. Like trying to get past me or something. I hear it again. I look, and it's fucking cold, like right in front of me. So I'm like, oh no, this ain't that, bro. I done seen too much, or too much in life. Like, I'm not about to go out like this. I closed that door so quick. I got the fuck out of that room. I closed it, went on to the next room.
To the next room? I'm out that
I
hotel.
was getting like a creepy, weird ass vibe. And if you know, there are a lot of stories that people, they see like silhouettes, black silhouettes. Sometimes people will see people running at them that aren't there. You'll hear things will move. That's just the very first instance. You guys like and comment if you want to hear more.
That job is done today. And I'm not coming back. I don't care. I don't like that.
It's getting spooky, guys.
I did not know that paranormal stories in the hood was a thing. But since it is, let me tell y'all about the time me, my mom, and my sister lived in a haunted house for over 10 years. This story's gonna have multiple parts, so buckle up. This is just part one. And this is when we first moved into the house, right? We not even fully moved in. Now, a little backstory. We found this house for cheap, and it was a nice house. It was like 4 bedrooms, 2 bathrooms, big ass. It was like a living room. Well, it was like actually like a living room, a dining room, and then kind of like an entertainment room. The house was huge, and we got it for a cheap price.
That's the first red flag. We got a huge house and it was cheap. That's the first red flag.
It is.
And I remember like when I was telling my homeboy, one of my homeboys about I was showing him the house, like, yeah, this is what we moving into. And he kind of looked at me and he was like, you know that house haunted, right? I'm just like, man, get the fuck out of here, whatever. And he like, no, for real. An old white man used to stay there. He died in the house. And people say it's haunted. And ever since then, nobody has ever stayed in that house past a couple months because it'd be too much shit happening. Now, mind you, the way my homeboys be playing, I'm kind of thinking he just fucking with me, right? I'm just like, whatever. All right, so now fast forward to we moving in. We all going, me, my mom, my sister, we all going back and forth moving our shit in, right? So now at this point, the only people in the house is me and 2 of my cousins, right? And I'm showing them like the house. So I'm not gonna go into details how it's set up because that's gonna take too long, but long story short, my room, the reason I picked it, and it's a fucked up reason, but my room didn't have any windows. And I loved it because when you would cut the lights off, it would be completely pitch dark. And I would sleep all day up in that bitch. So I'm showing my homeboys my room. But right down the hallway is my sister's room. And she actually had the biggest room in the house. And so I showed them my room. And then I go down to the end of the hall. And I'm showing them my sister's room. And like I said, she had a big ass room. But on the wall, now this is important. On the wall, there was like a floor-length mirror. But it didn't have a frame or anything. And it was bolted directly into the wall where you couldn't move it. Like if you touch it, you can't move it. It wouldn't move at all. It's just right there in the wall. It was like 4 bolts on each corner holding it into the wall, right? So I take them in there. I show them my sister's room and shit. And then I go back into my room and they come into my room with me because I'm moving my shit in, right? I'm moving my clothes, books, you know, knickknacks, all that good stuff. So while we're, mind you, nobody's in the house but us. Me, my 2 cousins. While we're in my room and we just talking, I'm talking about all the shit we gonna be doing, yada, 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 we hear a loud ass crash come from my sister's room. Now, we hood ninjas. So when we hear that, our first instinct is somebody in here with us. So we immediately dash into my sister's room, ready for action. Nobody's there. And the way the house was set up, nobody could have been in there. And they couldn't have came in and left without us seeing them or hearing them. The way the house is set up, right? So we get into the room, nobody's there. And my sister hasn't moved into her room yet. So it's nothing in her room. Her room is completely empty. And we looking around like, what the fuck was that noise? And we look at the mirror and it's smashed. Like, so now we know what the sound was. At first we didn't even know what the sound was. It was just the crash was so loud that it actually, like, we all like flinched before we ran to see what was going on. And the way the mirror was shattered, you would think somebody took a sledgehammer or something and just, you know, slammed it into it. So now, we in my sister's room, and we just looking around like, what the fuck? Like, how did that happen? Because again, mind you, my sister, the mirror is bolted into the wall. You can't move it. You can't jiggle it. There was no type of give on it. You dig what I'm saying? So for it to just spontaneous shatter, there was no logical explanation. And we just kind of like, you know how you get that, oh shit look, but then you try to laugh it off because we just like, and I'm like, oh, well damn. And then, I make a joke like, well damn, Motherfucker did say, you know, the homie did say that the house haunted, you know, how we laughing, but we kind of spooked. So now, like maybe an hour or so later, my sister shows up. And she's already been in the house, right? And, you know, me and my two cousins, we in my room. We still in my room, chopping it up and shit. She goes in her room, and my sister got a temper. So she goes in her room, gets to yelling, and immediately comes to my room. Like, what the fuck y'all do to my mirror? And I'm like, we didn't do nothing to your mirror. And she like, get the fuck out of here, man. I know y'all. Y'all was probably up in there play fighting and shit, and y'all done smashed the mirror, and y'all don't wanna take accountability or whatever. Like, what the fuck? And so we like, look, honestly, we was in my room. That's what I'm telling myself. I'm like, look, honestly, we was in my room, and we just heard a loud crash. We came in there and the mirror was broke. My sister looked at us, and she like, y'all can't come up with a better fucking line than that? I'm like, and my cousins is looking at her like, no, he's not lying. Because I was known to joke and be sarcastic and shit. And so my cousins had to step in like, no, look, straight up, he's not lying. We was in here. We don't know what happened. We just heard this shit. And like the more that we explaining it to her, the more she's kind of like, first she's kind of like, then she's kind of like, and she's like, y'all for real? We like, yes. But look, so, and that was the first strange thing that happened. But a lot more shit happened. This video kind of long, so I'm gonna have to catch y'all on the next one. And I'm gonna let y'all know, cause that shit right there that I'm telling you, as freaky as that sound, I'm getting chills. It get a lot worse. And this shit is real. I'm not lying. I'm not making this shit up. But if y'all give me enough likes and shit and get enough views on this shit, I'll hit y'all a part 2. Comment part 2 if you want to hear the next part. As always, peace.
But did y'all get up out that house though?
I think he did, because he said that they lived there for 10 years. So I guess
They did not get up out that house quick enough.
Yeah, that's not quick enough.
10 years of demonic paranormal activity?
Yeah. I need to hear what more, because like the mirror shattering, I thought it was gonna be spookier than that, but because like the mirror shattering, like anything could have happened
in a room with nothing in it.
Yeah, sometimes stuff like that just be happening. I need to
get up out your house too.
That stuff like that don't happen in my house. But I need to hear more.
Paranormal story time. If it's late at night for you, I would suggest you not watch this video. So to set the scene, this is the middle of winter when I was about 7 to 8 years old. And at this particular time in my life, I had a bestie, a ride or die best friend. We're gonna call her Lily. Me and her were together almost every single weekend. I'm talking about ride or die best friend to the end. You get my drift. And on this particular weekend, we had a sleepover, as we usually did. Her family had an electric piano in the basement. This basement was creepy. I'm talking about Basement from the Cabin in the Woods creepy. If you know the movie, then you know my reference. Cobwebs everywhere. You wouldn't have wanted to go down there. I'm one to always fall asleep for everybody. During sleepover, I always fall asleep early. I just cannot stay awake. I cannot hang. So I fall asleep before her. Mind you, she had a bunk bed. She would sleep on the top and I would sleep on the bottom. As I'm going to bed, I just don't feel good. In my soul, in my energy, this felt different. I didn't feel right. I felt very uncomfortable. The house was freezing cold, and the house was dark. I mean, pitch black. You could not see your hand in front of your face. I'm so serious. Her dad was the type to where if it was bedtime and you were going to sleep, you had to turn off the TV. You had to turn off the lights. Everything had to go off. You weren't keeping a light on in this house. I wake up in the middle of the night. I don't know what time it is. It's dark. I'm having trouble going back to sleep. I'm tossing and turning. After about 45 minutes go by, I start to be able to doze back off. And no sooner do I start to fall asleep, I'm awakened by the sound of music. I don't know where the sound's coming from. It wasn't a TV. Nothing's on. There's not a light on in this house. I remember vividly I was laying on my stomach, so my back was exposed. And this is when I feel a rush of air go down my back, and it's cold air. I'm frozen with fear. But after a few minutes go by, I get the courage to try to wake up my friend. I call her name, there's no response. I call her name again, still nothing. After I call her name a third time, the music does stop. I have to get up. I'm trying to find my way to the door because it's dark. Like I said, you can't see anything. I finally reach the doorknob, and as I start to twist it, the music starts playing again. There's no turning back.
I'm not
to pee.
twisting
I gotta
it
go
anymore.
now. I run to the bathroom, and this bathroom is closer to the basement. And if you remember earlier, I said they had an electric piano down there. It was the piano. The piano is playing. I finish using the bathroom, and I run back to the bedroom. I get under the covers so fast, but that's not even the crazy part of the story. The next morning, I tell my friend about this piano playing. She goes, "The old piano from the basement?" I said, "Yes." She's like, "There's no batteries in that piano." I actually, sadly, did not go back to her house after this. We actually stopped being friends. When I told her that I didn't want to go back over there, it kind of just put a bad taste in her mouth, I guess, but I know what I heard. The piano was playing.
That's wild. That's wild.
I wasn't going back to your house either because, like, no, your dad too strict.
Yeah. Like, what do you mean turn everything off? I can't even have a nightlight. But, yeah, I think next year I'm going to get, like, plushies and stuff like that instead of this so that I have something to hold on to. Because I feel like I'm suffocating Jack. But, you know, yeah.
Nothing beats a Jet 2 holiday.
Oh, I don't think this is in the right category.
Yeah, you know exactly.
Nothing beats a Jet 2 holiday. And right now, you can save £50 per person. That's £200 off for a family of 4. We've got millions of free child place holidays available with 22 kilograms.
It's in here because it's scary.
No, it is. That's one hell of a way to learn to mind your business. Like,
I would, that's probably the scariest thing that could ever happen to you in life. Like, what you about to launch at me, that piss? No. But guys, that was our last video. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you got a little scared.
I feel like the anticipation for something scary is like made me more scared than the stories. Like, I was expecting worse, but I'm glad it wasn't worse than what it was. But yeah, thanks for hanging out with us, guys, and watching TikTok with us. And yeah.
We'll see you in the next scary video. So
yeah, spooky all month long. Don't forget to subscribe,
comment, like,
all of it.
Share the video. Yeah.
Yeah.
See you guys in the next one.
Toodaloo.